Well, today I'm starting on a quick trip up to the northern coast, at least, well, halfway up California. And I'm taking this trip because I want to accomplish 4 things, actually. One of them, of course, is to see the elephant seals. I don't know whether you're familiar, but elephant seals, they have a rookery up about 3 miles above Hearst Castle. And this is an important time of the year for the rookery. Second reason I'm going is that I have a friend out there I've known over 40 years, and she and her husband live out apparently in some big acreage. And so for the third reason, I have this drone and I'd like a place where I can practice flying it, and she has offered to take me around to some interesting looking places to use the drone. And so the fourth reason is that I have a brand new camera. Now when I say new, I mean I got it at 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. I picked it up at FedEx, so I've had it about 17 hours. And the feature of this camera is that it's very small, and that it has gimbal control, and it's something that I think I may be able to use quite a bit, and so I'm anxious to try it out. So this little video is going to show you sort of a documentary of what happened on this trip on my way up to Paso Robles and above Hearst Castle. I drove Interstate 5 north and then took Highway 46 east to Paso Robles. I wanted to test my new camera in the wind, so I tested it by putting it out the window on the driver's side, and the car was going 75 miles an hour. The gimbals work in high wind. I was invited to dinner at Carol and Jim's. Their private lane is a 2-mile drive from the nearest public road. Their driveway climbs up a hill for a half a mile. Their place is really isolated. They get 3/4 of their electricity from solar panels on their roof. The gate and fence are there to keep the deer out from their garden. The lane was in very good condition. Carol and Jim own 40 acres of land. Carol and Jim's place is in a forest at the top of a hill. Their place is hidden in the trees. Carol met me. We hadn't seen each other in over 40 years. She took me to their house. They used to have horses, but now they're down to 4 cats and 2 dogs. They have a marvelous kitchen.
So what did you major in school?
And Carol is a great cook and prepared a dinner for me which met my own peculiar dietary requirements.
Three of us.
I haven't eaten so well in a long time. The next day, Carol and I set out for the elephant seal rookery. The rookery is on Highway 1, which runs along the coastline and is very scenic. The tidal area was filled with big waves and big rocks. The coastline up here is rugged and picturesque. In fact, it doesn't look like there'd be any beaches up here. Just north of the rookery is a large rock that reminded me of Morro Bay. The parking area for the rookery is to the left. The elephant seals lie on the beaches on either side of that promontory. I was expecting to see a lot of seals, many more than were here. This is just the beginning of the birthing season, so the large number of seals had not yet arrived. The bulls have also started to return. When I was there were only 2 pups on the entire beach. This one is 3 days old. It nurses the rich mother's milk, and it grows rapidly. In a month, it will weigh 400 pounds. The mother is next to the pup. The grown seals are so large that they sometimes roll on top of one of the seal pups, and it dies. This little fellow was the main attraction on the beach today. The mature animals are huge. Elephant seals have no feet. They use their flippers to move about. Most of the females here are pregnant and will be giving birth during the next month. Now, I brought a 600mm telephoto lens that I bought 40 years ago. It's a manual focus lens, and when I put on a 2x extender, I could get up very close and personal to the seals. Of course, it has a very narrow field of view, and I spent most of my time with it trying to get the subject in focus. The manual focus made it very difficult to use this lens for this subject matter. This is the mother. This is the head of a bull elephant seal. Its belly is to the left. I may go back here later when there are more seals. I don't know why its nose is vibrating that way. This is another female. I did manage to get a few in focus and steady shots. The wind was blowing and the large lens was acting like a sail. Of course, there are no drones allowed to fly here, so we went back to the farmland below Carol and Jim's place. Carol had phoned the owner of the land first for permission to fly there. Now, one of the tests I wanted to do was tracking a car. My drone wouldn't let me use its automatic tracking feature at a low elevation, like the height of a human eye, 5 or 6 feet off the ground. I had to go twice that high before automatic tracking would work. If the drone was at least 4 or 5 car lengths away from the car, the tracking was pretty good, though the drone drifted a bit. When I used the automatic tracking feature with the drone only 1 or 2 car lengths away from the car, the drone would oscillate in and out, closer and farther. It made it look as if I wasn't driving straight, but I was. Next, I wanted to track a human. In the first test, I controlled the drone myself, manually. I couldn't seem to keep the subject matter centered as I was trying to move the drone closer or farther. Very difficult. Then I tried using the drone's built-in automatic tracking system on a person walking. In order to have it work, I had to have the drone high above the person, above eye level. This seemed to work well, though it was a bit mushy when the subject changed direction suddenly. The property owner dropped by to say hello. Dealing with curious onlookers is always a problem when you're flying a drone. Now, Carol wanted to try flying. I gave her a bit of instruction, and she was a natural-born drone pilot. So, the trip had been a success. I had seen the elephant seals, but would have to come back in January if I wanted to see them at their peak. I had reconnected with Carol. I'd tried out a new tiny camera, and I'd finally had a chance to get out and fly my drone. This is a typical drone shot you always see. Nice. The traffic driving home wasn't too bad. I took some video out of the front window with my new tiny camera as I drove. I think I'm going to be using this camera a lot.